All right, guys, we're back. Episode 3, Strike Force 5, plus Aubrey. Today, we're going to talk about the Lacey WKO. Go over our days again. We got the champ with us today, Corey Henry. He's going to talk a little bit. We got Matthew Peterson and myself, Brian. Jason and Dre weren't able to make it to time constraints. We'll get them on the show soon. Again, I'm going to apologize for my cat, just like I did last week, because it is a whiny little bitch. So Lacey WKO. Not much to talk about the venue. It's a venue we frequent, just because we live up here. We enjoy it. We go there. We had 30 people?
Yep.
30?
Yes.
30 people at this WKO. 6 more than Portland. Lots of good competition again. We had the first and second place finals round back up here. We had Chip Barnett and David Ellis. So we'll start with my day. I decided to play the same team I did in Oregon with a few different tweaks. There was a few teams I threw around, but finally we kind of decided that small tweaks were better than total team changes. And so I decided to take off my Nick Fury ID, Shield Level 7, just because I didn't call in Nick Fury, I think, once down there, and I never called in Peggy. And so it wasn't really that important, and the Don't Die tech is just real. So I decided to go with a Black Canary as a call-in, and for reasons behind, mostly because she can kill a Lex or a Mystique in one hit, either through Force Blast and or Perplexes. So my first matchup, I had to go against David Ellis. He was playing a Magneto, the Chase Magneto, Age of Apocalypse, Clarion, and a Thug. And at first glance, I thought I had that game won. Oh boy, was I wrong. He was playing a Wrath and lost. And that team, as we got into it, he won map initiative. We went to the office maps. Holy cow. I tried to get close. I couldn't really get range. Every single time I could get some range and some shot off, I realized I was within his movement range of Magneto. And so it was kind of slow. And finally, when I said, screw it, this needs to happen. And at this point, he had EE'd my War Wheels to pieces. It was over. I missed my attacks, and he just swarmed in with that Apocalypse. I couldn't get away because of the Lust. No shape change because of Wrath. It was a slaughter. I think I scored 5 points for his Batman ID card. And and he took my team. He played that team really well. Oh man. That was an ass kicking. Second match, I mean, at that point, all I could really do was 2-1 on the day, and I knew I needed to take wipes. I went against the dupe team. And that was a lot of positioning, and finally Black Canary did her job. Ended up killing Mystique off the ledge, and then I got duped down to last click, and I just couldn't get it past that. Third match, I went up against a Doctor Strange Faust team, Midnight Suns. I saw that team twice down in Oregon, and just like a hot knife through butter, Dual Nicks just absolutely decimated it. I think I ended with 373 points, 2-1. Not nearly enough to make it. Didn't make top 8. Still a lot of fun. Lots of good competition. I was glad to see so many people there enjoying themselves. We had so many people. It was good. But with that said, not much else for me on that day. I had some awesome grub from Safeway or Fred Meyer or wherever it was. That was about it. Fred Meyer. Didn't play any battle royales. So with that said, there's a few other people who did make top 8 and stuff that would like to talk. So I'll pass on to Aubrey.
All right, so I ended up playing the exact same team that I played in Oregon. It was the Drone Swarm team. I ended up changing out one of my IDs. I ended up going with a Quasar over a Black Canary. It ended up helping Brian so he could use his Black Canary ID. And I had the Ultron 7, so I was able to call in the Quasar. And so I still ended up with Pulse Wave on my team, so it was no big deal. Quasar actually ended up killing quite a few people. He hits pretty hard.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's really good at what he does. My first match, I went up against a really, really weird team. It was Handstand Spider-Man, a Faust, 2 drones, and a Solaris. And that handstand Spider-Man is the best at evading attacks ever. I don't know what it was, but he was running a box with it, and he had combat reflexes and ESD.
Isn't that the one that gets +1 to its evade roll for super senses from range?
Yep.
Going up against a drone swarm, that doesn't surprise me, is evading.
Yeah. Well, there was one point in the game where I had 5 drones on him, just completely surrounded him. No, it was 6 drones. And I was trying everything within my power to hit him.
I saw that because you were charging Blazing with your Ultron.
Oh, yeah, I was even charging Blazing. I was doing everything I could to try and kill this guy, but he had Eclipso on it as well, so he was choosing Imperv. And so every time he did a Super Sense out of it, he'd roll Imperv. And, like, for about 6 of the hits, he improved out, and then the other time it was just like, okay, I'll take 1 damage.
Shitty.
Yeah. I called in Nick Fury, and then I hit him with Nick Fury, and I got him down real low. And he just refused to die. So I ended up losing that game. I scored about 60 points, KO'd both his drones in like the first 2 turns. It was super quick on that. Right. But his Faust was doing some crazy stuff. I got energy dampener like 4 times, which against my team's not a lot of fun.
So were you playing that? How were you playing with the energy dampeners? Did you ever get more than 1 at a time? Or?
No.
Okay, so it didn't.
I'd get 1. I just action token all my team because I don't care. I'm on drones. Right. They like doing that. And then I just go up and I end up attacking with 6 guys or something after I cleared, I'd attack with 3 this turn and then clear the rest of them and then end up doing that again. And since the Ultrons have that willpower by being adjacent to other Ultrons, it ended up helping me not having to push a lot. And he was just by attrition, he was able to kill enough of the drones. It was a tough match. It was crazy that I couldn't hit that. And then literally like the last 5 minutes when I got his Spider-Man down to the last one, the judge called last action. He rolls red, hard actions. Everything goes back across the map. And I was like, oh, fantastic. Not like I wanted to kill this guy. But that was an interesting way to end the game. The guy had 3D tokens for his Ultra Heavies and stuff, though.
Oh, right on.
So it was really cool seeing him carry around a trash can.
Oh, that was against...
Aaron Hopkins.
Yeah,
he was a really cool guy. Really cool guy.
He's another Lacey frequenter.
Yeah, really weird team.
Who was it that ran it?
Aaron.
Oh,
yeah. He has good teams.
Yeah.
Always a joy to play against him, win or lose.
That Faust red roll, though, we both looked at each other, and he was like, dude, I'm sorry. And I was like, yeah, I know. I knew this was going to happen. I was like, I would have done the same thing. Don't feel bad. I did it to Cory. It's karma. It had to happen to me. My second match, I forget the man I ended up playing with, but he was one of the people that came down with Chip Barnett and David Ellis and them. He was a really, really nice guy. He was playing a Quasar, but he was playing lower point Quasar with an Eclipso on it. Or no, it was Brainiac, sorry. And he didn't realize that the link dials, he was thinking that he gets Brainiac at full. Well, Quasar's halfway through his dial, but it ended up not being that because after my first shot on Quasar, he's like, oh, you just KO'd Brainiac. And I was like, oh my gosh, because of the link dials, it ended up getting ruled against him because he thought it was always at the start when he started. And he's I ended up goofing pretty bad on my force construction. But that game, I felt so bad. I was the biggest douchebag in the entire world. I got Nick 5 times.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, every time I rolled, they just kept throwing back on a care package. I was like, all right. So I ended up getting Nick 4 times as fake and then 5 times as a real boy. So,
5th time was a real boy.
Yeah, his 5th time was a real boy. And then I had my Justice League Trinity War Superman and then the Martian Manhunter as well. Just, that guy was just like, wow, that was a little ridiculous. And he's like, and your call-ins never missed. And I was like, yeah, that's just the way it had to go, unfortunately. And I kept rolling Green Arrow for inspiration, too. Oh, just to add insult to injury. Right. Just a free +2 on attacks.
Sounds like your dice rolls were on point that game.
Oh, my dice rolls were amazing. I was like, I really wish I had that last game because then I could have hit something. But, I ended up Quasaring his Quasar, which he just kind of looked at me a little silly. Right. He was like, well, that was interesting. That doesn't happen quite often.
Okay.
And then he had a Sunfire, the rare one. And when you get Sunfire to, like, the last click where he dies or something, you can bring in Sunfire Prime.
I think so, yeah.
Which, yeah, I
If you
didn't
pay
know
the
about
extra
that.
points.
If you
Yeah.
pay an extra 5 or 10 points.
Which he did, and I saw it. There was like an extra 10 points allotted for it, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I assumed, it's definitely got to be legal. And then the Sunfire Prime comes in, and then Real Boy Nick kills him, and he's like, I have never seen Nick so much. It was kind of like I paid 120 points to have him permanently. It was pretty bad. My third match, though, talk about a game. I went against Brian Domir. And he had the greatest team in the entire world, and I loved it. He was running 5 Riptides with a Proteus and a full box.
And it wasn't a round table?
Oh, yeah, a full round table, sorry. And every single ID card was +1 or +2 to ranged attacks. And it was so nasty.
I've done that once or twice before.
Oh, dude, it was so much fun. Unfortunately, that team's not very well suited to fight a never-dying army.
Well, I mean, Drone Swarm, eventually you are going to kill him. And it's almost the perfect matchup because you are a never-ending. It needs to rely on killing something and keeping it dead, where yours just...
Yeah, I just kept coming back. And he'd multi-target pulse wave because, he's locked at 1 damage.
Right.
So you might as well get as many as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But the time he had 2 Riptides next to each other, I just called out Wonder Woman Flurry.
Right.
Killed one, killed the other one. And at first, I was reluctant to kill because I forgot how Proteus worked. I was like, oh crap, I'm going to kill this Riptide. Proteus is going to be right here. So that's why I called in the Wonder Woman. And then I realized, he's like, okay, and now it swaps. And I was like, oh yeah, that happens, doesn't it? So I ended up killing like 2 of them, and it was just swapping all over around. And then he finally ended up killing one of my drones. I didn't realize how good that ability is. The Marauders ability, or the Brotherhood of Mutants, or whatever.
We have Marauders.
Yeah, the Marauders, where you get a heal 1 click for every single person, or get a +1 to all your combat stats. Yeah, that's a little nasty. And just, anything that has a free action pulse wave pretty much is my new favorite piece. So that was the greatest, absolute greatest game of my life. I loved it. It was so much fun. It was super ridiculous.
You should have played when Slosh was around then.
Was there a lot of free action pulse wave?
There was one guy. Was it Vladius or?
Yeah.
Yep.
Validius or whatever.
Yeah.
Gross.
He's just like, beginning of turn, free action pulse wave.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, he was awesome.
But that match was so fun. It was so goofy. He's a great guy to play against. I ended up with a 2-1 record with 655 points. I finally broke, and I was able to make it to top 8. And then I had to fight my rival, Chip Barnett.
Your rival.
Yes. 2 tournaments.
That's a one-way
2 tournaments in a row.
Yeah, right? Chip's too nice to be a rival.
He knocked me out of getting into top 8 in Oregon, and then he knocked me out of top 8 in Lacey. So
maybe he'll knock you out of top 4 next time.
Right.
I hope it's just a progressional ladder.
He did that to me last time.
Oh my goodness. That guy is amazing at playing clicks, and he's a ton of fun to play against. It was crazy. He was playing those dual Lokis with the dual possessors. That team does work. If you're not over 150 points, that thing sucks to go against. Super senses, shape change, and combat reflexes, and ESD. Fantastic. And he's taking impervious from the possessors, so it's not like you can call in a Red Hulk and then just poison 9 times.
It's almost as if he knows what he's doing.
It's almost
Shocking.
He's played the game before.
Right.
I want to go that far.
Let's not get crazy.
Yeah, let's not get hasty here. But it was generally a fun game. I kept trying to get to my real boys because that was my only chance. Because if I got my real boys and he didn't improve out of it, I would have one-shot one of his guys, and that's what I needed to do.
Right.
He did not want to attack me. He did not want me to wrap up that dial. And so I was calling in real boys, or just ID call-ins to try and ramp up my dial as fast as possible. Because he was not going to hit me. And so I ended up getting away 2 clicks. 2 clicks away from my top thing. So I would have had some real boys in, and then he was like, wait, you can't ramp that up anymore? I was like, maybe. I could be on a care package. And he's like, can I see that? And I was like, no. And he's like, all right, I know what I'm doing. And he just kept running away, which, yeah, I mean, it's smart. And he's like, does this kind of remind you of the last game we had? And I said, unfortunately.
Right.
And we started joking and we were messing around. And I was like, oh, it's hero clicks, not hero run. And he got a good kick out of it. But all around, he's a great guy to play against. A lot of fun. I ended up getting knocked out of top 8 there, but it was just awesome getting to top 8 for the first time. A lot of fun.
Right. So playing the same team, basically, do you think it was the competition you're going against or the team, your changes that made the difference?
Definitely the changes.
You think so?
Yeah. Plus getting all that extra experience and stuff, I was way more cool-headed this time.
Right.
I wasn't as nervous. I didn't forget a single thing with that swarm team this time. And I actually did that whole swarming part of the swarm, which really generally helps out. It's kind of scary when you have 5 or 6 drones up in your face, and especially when they're on that second click with the pin psi and 4 damage. Unless of course you can't be targeted, then you don't really care. Yeah.
Right.
If you can't draw lines of fire, you don't really care at that point. Unless if you're playing a Quinjet, apparently.
Right. Because you went, it was 2-2 in Oregon.
I went 2-2 in Oregon, yes.
Okay.
Because I was 2-1, then I went against Chip, and Chip was like, "Nice team, bro," and then he destroyed me, and then he did it again in Lacey.
Right. Okay. Not too bad then. Is there anything else you want to add?
Just it's always nice seeing those guys come down. That whole crew, they're a bunch of fun people, and just really, it was a great day. Should have had 4 rounds.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a bit.
Oh yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Matt's on.
So Matt, let's hear about your day.
Oh, great, my day. I ran the same team as Brian. Dual Nick, dual War Wheel, box, 2 ESD relics, U.S. Agent, not Black Captain America, but U.S. Agent card and a Black Canary ID card. Match 1 was Chip Barnett, which was the dual Lokis, and well, about 40 minutes of that game was jockeying for position until he could adequately hit my War Wheels. And then once he got into position, I don't even think he had to prod the attack. He nailed them both. And at that point, I was like, well, I could run, but it doesn't matter because he will have won. Can't draw lines of fire with him because he's not dumb enough to double action token his Loki so I can actually draw lines of fire. So at that point, it was pretty much I moved up on him and tried to hit. Wasn't really a hell of a lot I could do. I couldn't take any points off his team because he had no ID cards. Everything was based around those Lokis. Round 2 was against Mike. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, General Fellowship.
General Fellowship is what we call him because he's just so nice. And like sometimes he builds this really random ass team that just stomps you, and then or it goes the opposite way where he builds this really random ass team and you stomp it. I've never had a game be like in between with him. He ran dual Nicks and a Captain Cold. I picked the maps. I picked the map, and it was the Spider-Man map, the one with all the buildings. I pretty much just kept taking away Nick's can't use power and would pound on Captain Cold till he was gone. And then I just would start single targeting the one Nick Fury, and I risk him hitting his shape changes and just take away his can't use power. After a couple rounds of doing that, once I got Captain Cold killed and the barrier was gone, then it was pretty much a one-sided battle at that point. My last match of the day was Daniel Schroeder, who I seem to play at just about every tournament. And I love playing him. And he ran the team that I told him he should have ran before. And I'm glad he ran it, but at the same time, it was kind of an uphill battle for me because it was Black Canary with 2 shifting focus soups, a full box, and I don't think he had any ID cards. No, he didn't because I couldn't take any extra points. 300 even. One of the first attacks, he landed one of his first attacks, dealing Nick some damage. He had the Wrath Relic on one of the Supermen, so I couldn't use my shape change. But at that point, War Wheels just started stomping up and down the alleyway. But I mean, I was rolling like 10s on 20 defenses like all day. And I did my major retaliation was I rolled through, hit none of them, probbed it twice, hit them all, and then he team probbed it twice, or he team probbed it, I hit, he team probbed it again, and I believe I actually missed. So it took 4 probs for that one action to be resolved.
Wow.
I had to split my Knicks apart, get his team spread apart, so that way I could actually start taking away stuff so it mattered. Because he had the Justice League ATA that gave them all +1 to their defense against certain characters. So, I mean, I was standardly looking at 20 defense. He made me work for it. I eventually took his team, but it wasn't easy. I took 600 points on the day and went 2-1. That's about it.
So those dual Lokis, what's their movement?
8. They had sidestep too. I was just looking them up.
It's an 8 with sidestep.
Yeah, they had
Sidestep?
they had sidestep because of their sins.
I mean, I realize hindsight's 20/20. I'm just sitting here thinking because we played the same team, what I would have done if I faced them. Now, I don't know if it would work, but
And we had that discussion too because I said, you know, in hindsight, maybe I should have just used the War Wheels and ran all the way across the board.
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And then after they got so far my way, and then when they tried to come back, do the same thing again. But his pacing was too good, and he would have rather have taken the roll off than double action one of them. Because we double action one of them, I could have taken away probably like imperv and shape change or something. You know, because he didn't have a definitive highest point character either.
Right. Well, the only thing I was thinking is I might have treated it like a mystique, whereas use the War Wheels to put my Knicks adjacent to him, and then he has to move to get away, or stay there and take a hit. I don't know if it would have worked, but
The only reason
we might have to play test that.
the only reason I didn't was because so I roll up with the War Wheels and the Knicks, right, and I try to lock them down. Well, the one's got lust. So it's gonna hit the breakaways, like,
Right.
and I can't even prob them because I can't draw lines of fire with my Knicks.
Can't take away.
But so Knicks rolling, and let's say I don't roll the 11 or roll the perplexes I needed on the box. So I'm rolling an attack of 11 on 20 defense, close combat. I have to get through shape change, super senses, and impervious. And even if I get through all of those, and he takes 1 damage. Then I take 1 for Mystics.
Right.
Yeah.
So for all that work, I really gained no ground. And Loki's got 2 clicks, 1 in the middle and 1 at the end of his dial with regeneration. And I have 1 click on my dial for regeneration.
He has those save probs.
Yeah, and he had 2 probs.
Nasty.
Yeah, I felt the wrath of that. I got him down to regen, and then he regened to full. I was like, oh, fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, that's, I mean, and I thought about that in hindsight too, but there really wasn't. Nick's so based about drawing those lines of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And even like, I screwed up with my U.S. agent calling, and he went too far, but neither of us caught it. But when we did catch it, Loki hit his shape change anyway, so it didn't matter. And I said, all right, well, U.S. agent's gone, and nothing really mattered. You got 5 points you were going to get anyway.
Right.
The only move that I did that might have helped me a little bit was I called in Black Canary to force blast the Loki, and if she rolls a 4 or 5, they're dealt 1 penetrating, and if she rolls a 6, they're dealt 2 penetrating. And I rolled a 6, and I was like, yes, this is awesome. And then he goes, prop, and I rolled like a 2. And I probbed it, and I rolled like a 3. And then I probbed it again, and I rolled like a 3 again. And I'm like, well, womp womp. But
Well, that was almost awesome.
it was almost cool. A red tornado would have been better at that point, but at the same time, I would have still went with Black Canary because of her pulse wave. Because for the other 95% of the teams out there,
Right.
like, it wouldn't matter.
The U.S. agent would matter for the other part,
Yeah, for Midnight Suns. So.
Right. which was almost essential for my wins down in Oregon.
Can you not force blast Midnight Sun?
Well, you can, but I mean, it doesn't necessarily do damage. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, red tornadoes probably would, but
That's what I was
the
thinking.
U.S. agent takes away stealth.
Yeah, so you could just nick them. Right.
Nick 'em.
Snicker.
But yeah, I mean, Chip's game, like, I jockeyed for so long thinking about everything I could do, but he wasn't dumb enough to come, and I shouldn't say dumb enough, but it was just, he knew his team well enough to know that advancing on me too hard would cause me to go the opposite way from which he just came.
Right.
But he walked the middle ground, whereas I couldn't really, and that Loki ignores hindering an elevated terrain for movement. So, and we were on the bridge map.
Yeah.
So it's all where he can go.
Right.
So it was like, I mean, it didn't matter. His team was just like perfectly built for a team like mine.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It did pretty good against mine, too.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
Okay. All right, so we got Cory Henry here. If you haven't heard, he was the winner, Lacey WKO. He's going to go into his team build, his day, stuff like that.
All right. So I pretty much had a panic attack right before the tournament. I had seen these guys. They had sent me the top 8 list for Portland. And 5 out of the 8 teams were Don't Die Tech in some sort or fashion.
Yep.
And I was terrified because I was playing the Quinjet, which gives away points like candy. So I pretty much scrapped my entire Quinjet build and decided to play Lex or something of the sort, or Resman, Deadman, something, anything. I was scrounging for ideas at that point, and then these guys had to kind of reel me back in. They're like, no, go with what you know, just make adjustments. And that's exactly what I did. I made a few adjustments to help against that Don't Die Tech. So instead of running Ultron 18.2, I ran Ultron Phalanx Drone for a, in case I have to break glass and push the Phalanx Drone to pilot the jet and get Pulse Wave, so I can Pulse Wave some of these Don't Die pieces. It never ended up coming into play, but it was there if I needed it. It made me feel better. But the biggest change that actually did make a difference was I scrapped the Atom and I scrapped Henry off my build, and I added Jarvis. That made a huge difference because the Perplex helped out, and Jarvis is a lot harder to give away points on than, say, an Atom or Henry. That's 30 points to give away pretty easily if you're not careful. Whereas you really got to hit Jarvis 4 times because he's always going to be like stuck to the jet. So that helped out, and it also gave me an extra ID card. And with the extra ID card slot, I used Hawkeye because it helped against some drones. It helped against other retaliators, stuff like that, double targeting. So it helped out a lot. So I ended up using the Quinjet, Ultron Phalanx Drone, Ultron 6, Atomic, and Jarvis. And my ID cards were 2 shield level 7s for Nick and Peggy, Red Tornado, Black Canary, Iron Man, Hawkeye, the Atom, Nightwing, and Green Arrow. I used every single one of those cards, and there was not a single card on that build that was not important through the day. So I was really happy with the build that I ended up with. So I'll go into my round one. I do not remember the guy's name, and I feel bad for how this game went. He was playing Renee Tilly, Spider-Punk, The Juice is Loose.
Dude!
Uh,
Oh, I saw that guy too. Oh, what
Yeah.
is his name?
Johnny Quick, and he was playing, and there's something else that I can't remember. The only reason I don't remember is this game ended up really quick. He decided to, we could jockey for position. He won map. We went into an indoor map, of course, so he could use the hypersonic a little bit better and move around with Renee Tilly. He decided he wanted to juice his loose and go ahead and hit my Quinjet, which I did not understand at all, but I was like, okay. So he hit the Quinjet, and he moves his Johnny Quick all the way back with the rest of his squad. I'm like, oh, okay. So the next turn, I proceeded to free call in the Atom. The Atom and perplexes up his attack. Hit his entire team for 2. And I moved. Let's see. And I also had the Jet call in Green Arrow at 135 points. And I had Ultron 6 walk through some walls for me to clear a path and proceed to hit his entire team with Energy Explosion, dealing 16 damage total. And at that point, I think that he had maybe 1 or 2 pieces left on their last click. And it was pretty much over from there. So I'm 1-0 with 4 points. Round 2, I play a guy named Kevin Shea. He's from the Seattle area. I really like playing him. He's a really good guy. He was playing a Sinister Syndicate team. He was playing double Doc Ock. Let's see. Yeah, double Doc Ock, Chameleon, and Overdrive. With the round table, and the ID cards were the +2 to combat, close combat, or +1 close combat. They were pretty much all those ID cards. And his disguises for Chameleon were the Super Rare Raphael from the first Turtle set, and Peggy Carter.
Was Kingpin one of them?
Kingpin was the other one from the Fast Forces. This game almost ended my tournament on round 2. He positioned his pieces up. I kind of hold in a corner to where he could only hit the Quinjet and nothing else. I miscounted his total swing by about, I think, 1 square because of Giant Reach. So I was like, I think I'm about to lose my jet this turn. And he proceeded to not miss a single attack roll. So yeah, he took my entire jet in 1 turn. So I was left with 2 drones, a Jarvis, and an Atomica. Not looking pretty, right? What happened was, I was thinking, I'm like, okay, I think I have a shot. I'm pretty sure Doc Ock has 5 clicks because our teammate Jason has played Doc Ock enough to where I've had that dial drilled in my brain, unfortunately for Kevin. So I have Nightwing, and I call in Nightwing, double perplex up his damage, charge flurry, attack the first Doc Ock, killing it. Second attack of flurry, attacking the other Doc Ock, killing it, and I'm up by 10 points. At that point, he has Peggy Carter and Overdrive, and his next turn, he's about to move his pieces to run away. And I kind of pull a D-bag move on this because I know this is only a 3-round Swiss tournament. We will talk about this later, but this affected this decision entirely. So for 3 rounds, I know I need points. He's about to run. I tell him, I'm like, you want to check the math? I'm 100% you're down by 10 points. I'm like, does that make a difference to you? He's like, yeah. So he stays and attacks.
Oh, man.
Playing a little bit of mind games worked out on my part.
That's
Because
part of the game.
I
though.
wouldn't even say it's a D-bag move because he would have been in the same boat. Like, if he ran and you were down on 10 points, and he loses, then he's still out. Like, it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Generally, if you want to win the game, you have to stay and fight. You're
Right.
down on points. You have to.
Yeah. So he stayed and fight, and it did not work out. I ended up taking his entire team, so I'm 2-0 with full points. So I'm looking pretty good right now. And round 3, I faced the one team I did not expect to see at a high-level tournament. I want to shout out this guy right now. His name is Andrew Gosler. This guy had the entire biggest balls of this entire tournament. I really want to get him a trophy that's a nutsack in gold.
Truck nuts. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll definitely make it happen.
Dip it in some.
We'll just go steal some awesome Honda or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be called the Andrew Gonzer Award for biggest balls. This guy played Shuma Garath at 200 points, Felix Faust, and the box with 2 cents. That's it. No IDs. Simple and to the point. And this game was one hell of a game. I'll admit I thought I had the game. When I sat down, that was not the case.
Yeah.
He proceeded to win the map roll, putting us on WizKid's office.
Ooh.
It was terrible. I think round 2, I ended up KOing his Faust, and I did a couple damage to his Shuma, which was good. So I thought, okay, well, Faust is gone. I got the problem out of the way. I can just kind of pick off Shuma. Well, guess what? It didn't work out that way because Shuma kind of killed both my drones. And then he was very, very good at positioning. He did not let me get a shot off, or at least a quality shot off for the rest of the entire game. He knew he was up on points. I had a few chances to get him, and I missed the attack rolls. But props to him. He played his ass off. And he complimented me at the end of the game. He's like, I didn't know you could position that well. I'm like, well, I've played this type of team and this map a lot. But I ended up losing to Shuma Garath with a Quinjet. So that happened. So I am 2-1 with 675 points. I thought I was pretty good for top 8. And which I was. So I made top 8. Now, my top 8 game was against one of our local guys. He's kind of my local nemesis, Cade Simonson. He was playing Faust Jet. So straight Quinjet versus Faust Jet. He wins the map roll. No, I win the map roll, and we went to the Manhattan Bridge map, which, I mean, it worked out for either one of us. We were going to pick that map either way. That's the map for the Quinjet. This game basically came down to, he called in Nick early to attack my Quinjet. I don't know why you people are attacking the Quinjet just to get 4 damage on it when you haven't attacked anything else.
If you ain't looking at dual Doc Ock doing it, like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be doing anything else.
Unless you really want to get me off of that defend to then go ahead and attack drones, that makes sense. I've seen Kevin do it. But other than that, I don't understand it. So he called in Nick to do 4 damage to my Quinjet. Once again, I proceed to call in the Atom, perplex up his attack, and I have line of fire with my Atomica. I hit both his drones and his Nick Fury with my Atom, killing both of his drones, doing 2 to Nick. Call in my Nick, say Nick can't use shape change, KO his Nick. So it's down to his half Quinjet and Faust and an Atom. So yeah, it didn't look pretty at that point. We kind of played it out. I ended up taking his Atom and doing a little bit of damage to Faust just so he couldn't really, at least attack with Faust at all. He ended up getting out a few other ID cards and not doing any kind of significant damage. He took maybe, I think, 1 or 2 of my drones, and that was really about it. So, but it did go to time with both of our Quinjets still sitting out there. But, of course, I won on points by a large margin. But it was still a pretty well-played game after the Nick mistake, as I see it. Then I go to top 4. Top 4, I play Chip Barnett. You may have heard his name a few times on this cast.
And the last cast.
And the last cast.
Just a popular man.
So, yeah, Chip. Before I get into Chip's team, I want to say, after what he did at Portland, he made what I consider the perfect meta call for this next tournament.
He bait and switched
Oh, he
everyone.
He did.
He bait and switched everyone by playing a don't die type of team that is not weak to the same type of things that all the other don't die techs are weak against.
Right. At the same time, being able to kill the teams that can kill those don't die tech.
Exactly.
We just got played.
He played Double Loki. Now, Double Loki was something I had prepared for way back at Nationals. And when I was actually assembling my first Quinjet build by using Red Tornado Red Tornado Peggy, and, Nightwing for a few extra little attacks here and there. This game was kind of an out-of-body experience. I don't remember a lot about this game. Maybe Chip can drop some comments in our comment section to help me out, maybe remembering some of this. But I knew I had a few shots to take with my ID cards. I knew if they didn't stick, it was game. And if they did, I could possibly win the game. So I ended up backing his Loki that did not have the Lust Relic. That was very important. If I corner the one that has Lust, it does me no good. I countered the one that had Wrath attached to him. So I put the Quinjet behind him. I call in Red Tornado after he had already perplexed up his defense, and he has combat reflex, he has shape change, he has super senses, has impervious. I call out Red Tornado, force blast him twice into the jet. So he's taking 2 penetrating damage from being adjacent to Red Tornado after she force blasts. This was the turning point of that game. I then proceed, or he tries to break away and fails a breakaway. The next turn, I call in Peggy Carter, say he can't use, I want to say he can't use, what was it?
Was it
can't
shape
remember.
change?
Maybe it was one of the 3.
Yeah,
it was one of the-
them.
I thought it was
No, he had already lost super senses by that
Yeah,
point.
Yeah.
so it was either
I think it was Emperor.
no.
No, it was shape change because
Because
he
he
didn't
would've
have imperv at
yeah.
that point either.
He would've had
okay,
invul.
yeah.
He had invul. So I take away shape change, and then I real boyed in Peggy, and then I called in Nightwing, and I missed both my attacks. That kind of sucked. But I ended up ramping up my Quinjet enough to where the next turn he tried to attack, and then he failed another breakaway. I was able to real boy in Nick and call in Green Arrow in the same turn. And I think I took away I took away his combat reflexes from the box, and I was able to KO a Loki. I knew if I KO'd one Loki, I had pretty much had the game in the bag. So I was able to KO one Loki, and then I played Runaway. That's exactly how I knew I had to play it, and Chip understood because he
Doing it all night.
yeah, he'd been doing it all night, but he understands the situation. So he didn't feel bad about it. We had a fantastic game. If any of those details are wrong, please remind me, because I have to do a write-up for Apex Predators.
Well, I remember watching that game, and a lot of that stuff seems pretty on. I remember
Yeah.
those characters. I don't know if the little details are right, but I think the major ones are there.
Yeah.
I know that you both were holding your breath quite a bit. Wanted to tell you guys to breathe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a good 3 or 4 minute period where neither one of us breathed.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
was
super
intense.
intense.
yeah, it was a good game.
So that puts me in the finals. And I face Andrew Gonzer. I face
Gold balls and all.
Oh my god.
I face Shuma again. We had talked right after Swiss about what I could have done, and we pretty much everything that they checked off was things that I did, but they just didn't work out. So I knew my game plan, but the most important role of that game came on the map. We rolled for map. He had a +2 to his map roll because he had a mystical theme team. I rolled a crit hit for the map choice. This is the thing that swung the entire game. I move up with my Quinjet, carry my entire team, set up for a possible nick the next turn. He kind of positions a little bit, and he attaches a sin to Shuma, perplexes up, and the next turn, I blast him with Nick for 6, and what was the second Becky?
Was it Hawkeye?
Maybe it was
I
Hawkeye.
think so.
Yeah, and
That seems right.
I think Hawkeye finished the last bit of damage and did a little bit to Faust. That point, it was pretty much over. He only had Faust left, no ID cards to call in. So I kind of just ran right up to Faust, ended up calling in Peggy, say, can't you shape change? And then I ended up attacking a couple turns later because I missed quite a bit just trying to hit Felix. But I ended up pulling it out and winning my first WKO. So, and then overall, it was a really great experience. It was a really great tournament, and I had some really great opponents. So, it was really great. I can't say anything more than that.
Yeah, it was a good win. Lots of good stiff competition.
Solid variety of players. We had Brent and Kyle from Canada.
Yep.
Maybe a couple more to catch. At least like 7 or 8 of the Oregon guys.
Yep.
Some locals. Some Rory, who moved up north, plays
Yep.
more in the Seattle Everett area now.
Yep, he's down.
I think it's Jay Patel is his name. He was there.
Somebody was saying some people came from Idaho as well. Is that true? I don't know. If they did,
I would like to know more about the Idaho click scene, because as far as I knew, that was like barren tundra of potatoes and like icon set. Like they hadn't seen action and a grip. So,
all of them are just playing with one case of icon.
Like,
we played for 20
that's
years.
how it used to be around here.
Yeah, it used to be. It's gotten better. Before we move on too far along, I didn't want to interrupt Cory during his day. But a growing trend is what can lose you a game is defeating yourself before you even start by being overly confident. I did that definitely my first round, and I got my ass handed to me. It sounds like Cory did it once and was not good.
I didn't have that problem.
Right.
That was not my problem.
So basically, for newer players who might listen to this, over and over, and I realize this more and more, is definitely the player who makes the team, and not the other way around. A team cannot make a player.
Right.
So it just proves that a player who's good at strategizing has somewhat of a plan. Doesn't necessarily mean your build is in meta or whatnot, but just have a plan, and stick to that plan and do it, and you can come out on top. It's been proven a few times over these last few weeks. It's really, really important. Even if you think you might lose, play till the last thing. I can't explain how many times where I've had my opponent in the corner and they just came back and won it. Like, you should always play till the end. So, with that said, we're going to talk a little bit more. We have a little bit more time. The biggest consensus for WKO, everything went fine. Everybody liked the venue. Everybody liked the people. Judging was good. The biggest thing was the 3 rounds. And I thought we were one of the few venues, but as soon as it happened to us, we put it on Critical Clicks. And it seems like nationally there was quite a few venues.
There was a couple venues that did 3 rounds,
Right.
but a lot of them were 4 or 5.
Right.
On the average, they were 4 and 5, but we weren't the only ones that did 3.
Right.
And because I posted in Critical Clicks, and I was just curious. I mean, I was a little bitter, but I was more curious than anything. And I think Paris Gordon said it best, where he's like, there should be enough Swiss rounds that one loss shouldn't automatically mean drop out of the tournament.
Right.
In this tournament, there is a lot of 2-1s. Like
Especially with Don't Die Tech there.
Yeah. I mean, I was sitting at 600 points. Johnny was sitting at 609. Like, just having down in Oregon, we had 6 fewer players, but it was like 2 4-0s, 3-1s, and then 1 2-2.
Right.
So, and that was like, I felt like that was a better spectrum of the top 8 teams there.
Right.
And the top 8 could have been the same exact set,
Right.
But I mean, and I'll use the example of our team, Brian, like in the matchups I faced, like I had one team I played nobody with Collins all day.
Right.
So there was no accruing any more points than the build. 600 points was the build, or 300 points was the build, sorry. And I got 600 points. I swept 2 teams. And
with one bad matchup, it cut you.
Yeah. And I just don't feel like 3 rounds is enough to decide that.
Well, I feel like the more rounds you play in Swiss, the more accurately you can tell who should be involved in that.
It gives
top
a
eight.
very definitive top 8.
And while I am a little bitter that I didn't make it, and I understand that, it almost makes me more mad at myself for not building a good enough team that could do it in 3 rounds. That first round, I totally defeated myself. I don't know if I could do something versus David. I probably could have positioned. I just rolled my dice. I didn't hit.
Right.
And then I knew losing with 5 points, I had to wipe my next 2 teams. And when I went up against that dupe, I was like, okay, I have a plan for Mystique, and I have somewhat of a plan what I'm going to do for dupe, basically kill Resman and try and just power down dupe while Resman's not alive. And dude, that's no strategy. I almost felt like I should have dropped that round, because even with a win, I knew it was going to be low points, and even if I wiped my 3rd one, there's no way I was making it. Whereas if you go 4 rounds, you can get 3 wins and 1 loss, and you don't have to worry.
Right.
I won't say that it would affected what team I built, but it would definitely affected how I was playing. And dude, it was brutal. I would have much rather seen 4. It takes out the randomness. I mean, I know Aubrey feels exactly the opposite. He feels like if he would have went that 4th round, he would have lost. Maybe that's true. Maybe it isn't. I'd even be happy with having the venues say, hey, this is what we're doing. Because in the future, knowing 3 rounds, I probably won't play a Nick. Or dual Nick. I'll have more options in my team build. Dual Nicks is a very...
Even not from a competitive standpoint, but like a fun standpoint, if they told me 3 rounds, I might have just done Battle Royales, because it's like there's a bunch of other teams I could have been paired with round 1.
Right.
And I might have stood a chance. Like, even if I didn't beat them.
Like one of the 3 Krang teams that was there? Give me a break. There was a Krang? Like, I would have loved to have seen that. Like,
right, and that's my thing. Like, and like we were talking about it later, I don't think we've been to a competitive tournament that had less than 4 rounds of Swiss.
Nope.
No, it shouldn't happen.
I think
No,
even when Gabby's did the sealed, it was 4 rounds.
It was 4, because I dropped. The only tournament I ever dropped from was that one, and that's because got my ass handed to me, played a kid who I pretty much had to play his team, and the kid wasn't even having fun, and I said, to hell with this crap. I'm going to do Battle Royales and try to salvage the day. But that's sealed, that's a totally different monster. But the idea of, like, you spent time constructing this team, playing it, you want to see it go the distance. Like, I would have, at least with 4 rounds, if I didn't make top 8, like if I got a 2-2 record, I could have lived with that. Right. I could have been like, well, apparently I didn't think ahead. I just got my ass beat.
Right.
But you had one bad matchup at the end of your day.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't even like, I mean, if he had 2 ID cards, or something, but he was giving up no points, a total point denial team, which is an excellent strategy. But it was just kind of like, one bad matchup, I'm done.
Right.
That's a frustrating feeling.
It is.
It's never
because you're always going to have that one bad matchup.
Oh, yeah.
There's no. It's not a hit at your play style, your skill level. You're going to have bad matchups.
Right, and don't get me wrong. Like, if me and Chip played 100 games, he might beat me 99 out of the 100. There's a chance you could always beat him.
Right.
But I didn't get 100 chances. I got 1 chance for a team that's like, by the way, your lines of fire, well, they're gone. Like,
yeah, it would have been interesting to see who would have made it on a 4-round tournament.
Right. Because I very much feel like Corey's Quinjet build still would have made it. Right. I feel like Aubrey, you still had a hell of a chance to make it.
He did. He had a lot of good points.
Right. And, and not to bash any of the other teams, like Andrew running that friggin' Shumagorath was ballsy as hell, and I was glad to see it. I haven't seen that shit since.
Did he go 3-0 or did he go 2-1?
He was undefeated.
He was undefeated.
He was undefeated until I beat him in the finals.
So he would have made
with
it.
Chip Barnett.
Yeah, Chip would have made it. I think Andrew, or not Andrew, but David was he 2-1 or 3-0?
I think he was 3-0.
I think he was one of the 3-0s.
Right.
Because
Him, Chip, and Andrew were all 3-0, I believe.
right.
Right. I mean,
Cade was 3-0 too. There's 4 3-0s.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Why have 4 3-0s?
right.
You should at least just have 2. It should have went 4 rounds. There is no excuse about it.
Right. Even time-wise, by the time everything got finished up,
It was 7 o'clock.
yeah,
Yeah.
we were 2 hours earlier than the Portland one.
Yeah.
Granted, the Portland one, I mean, I enjoyed the shit out of it. There's a little bit more time between rounds. It's a dual-edged sword with that. It was nice. But at the same time, 3 rounds is just and we went through them so fast, it's just disenchanting the fact that I could have dropped after my first game and it wouldn't have that would have been my day.
Right.
And same for you.
Well, I mean, even from a business standpoint, 4 rounds keeps people in your store longer.
And you buy more product.
And you buy more product.
Right.
So, I don't know. I was going to talk to them and see if they're open to making it. I mean, it really should have been 4 rounds. A lot of people on Facebook, same thing. Should have been 4 rounds. Is there anything else we want to add to that, though? I mean, we're pretty much on the same page.
But I do want to say, other than that, this was a fantastic tournament.
Yes.
Of the high-end tournaments that I went to at Gabby's, this was the best.
Right. And we're not taking away anything from people who made top 8 or anything like that. You guys played excellent.
Better not.
It's just an opinion of
Whoa.
what should be standardized as far as Swiss.
Right. And,
you know,
and Jordan Beers posted pictures of, what other tournaments do. And I think it's Attack Wing actually only has Swiss at 3. I think their Swiss is only 3 rounds.
Isn't.
Which I thought was strange. Maybe I don't play that game. I've never played that game. So maybe there's a reason why.
Right.
But don't quote me on it.
Right.
But I mean, Force of Will was between 4 and 5. Magic, I think, was between 4 and 5.
I think 4 rounds works best unless we have more than 32 players, so probably 5.
Well, right.
It really, I mean, just like the Rock has, for a certain amount of attendees, they have a certain amount of Swiss. And I think it should be based on, so you don't get, if you get 1 loss on the day and you're able to wipe all your other teams or even win, you deserve to go.
Oh,
Right.
You know?
Right. I think there should be some sort of standardization other than just a venue's preference.
Right.
Or at least make that preference known before you
Exactly.
start.
I guess this is a more minimal gripe because it doesn't matter. It doesn't quite matter as much, but there was floating around the limited map allowance, and I think we just said any map, but it was any map that's legal, but I think that was day up.
Yeah.
And that would have been nice to know a little bit farther in advance.
Right.
Any in
Because
the
then,
Well, it could have changed your team quite a bit.
yeah.
Yeah. Playing with different IDs
Or
and
the
going to
Morlock
Atlantis.
tunnels,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know Andrew, not Gosner, but plays Butner. He made top 8, and I know that's the map I faced him on for the Oregon State Qualifier Championship.
Right.
So these are things, and I mean, it would have been nice to know.
Right. But on the positive, it's good to have more events. I really wish somebody would hold a rock. If anybody listens to this, me and Matt were talking about this. It would be awesome to get Super Q going in the South Puget area, just because it seems like it pulls in the most. It pulls in Oregon. If you Oregon guys are listening or you're on our Facebook page, let us know, how far would you go for a Super Q?
Right. Or the guys from
Idaho, Canada,
Idaho's going to be a little bit more of a drive,
right?
no matter what they do.
'Cause I know
Utah, but
Right. I know the Milwaukee Super Qs have been pulling 20 to 25. It'd be nice to get some 30 to 35s in there, and I think we definitely have. We would reach that if the rest of the Oregon crew, if the rest of Brothers probably even came,
Right.
we would have that. It'd just be good to get some more events up here. It's fun,
Well, and Brian Dormer was talking to me, and he's like, even if we just did a big tournament between Oregon, Washington, maybe Idaho, maybe parts of California, it's not even necessarily Rock or WKO, but just a competitive
right?
HeroClix tournament. Even if it's just for bragging rights, I'd be down. Like,
right? I would.
I
be
just
too.
want to play clicks. Like,
Right.
it ain't rocket science.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I agree, dude. That might not be such a bad thing because if you got an entry fee, you could easily buy a couple of cases of Hero Clicks if you got a big enough turnout
right,
and make that price support. you know?
right. The other thing that I think boded very well for both WKOs was not having them the same weekend.
Right.
Yes.
I actually talked to Eddie about that.
Right. I remember you saying
And
that.
that was a completely random occurrence. Guardians had set theirs up. It just happenstance that the people up at Gabby's who were running Dice Masters were only available that weekend that Guardians held theirs, so that's when they held it. And Eddie took this weekend. I straight up told him that if come February and this next WKO happens and they decide to go the same weekends, that's taking 4 or 5 from Washington, not going to Oregon, which brings them down to 20 people. And we would lose all those Oregon people up here. So you're losing 5 people probably from each tournament, and that's not good for business.
It hurts both.
Yeah. So Eddie said he was going to try and stagger it again.
Yeah,
So that's good news. I hope they do because I really enjoyed going down to Guardian Games and playing with them. It was an awesome venue. All those people were really cool. I had a really good time. Plus, you get 2 events in an area that doesn't see many, and so why
Right.
put them the same weekend? So hopefully that happens, and that'd be super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? I mean, there's some Facebook discussions going on right now. Biggest one being Jakeem. Go ahead and go comment on that because he's not broken. He's just really good.
Well, the Faust ruling.
Yeah, Faust ruling. I know Brothers brought it up, but I saw it this morning on. Actually, I had an HC Realms forum, and somebody posted the win for it, and so energy dampeners. 1 non-free action from the character will remove all energy dampeners on that character, not one at a time. That's huge. I know a lot of people have been playing it that other way. Just not the case. In fact, that brings up Punisher Van because I played against Aubrey one night, and I had energy dampeners all over that thing, and I still beat him. So
that Punisher Van is disgusting.
that's another thing. I'm gonna put up a discussion probably right after this podcast up on Facebook about the Punisher Van, people's thoughts. Where are we going with resources? We'll probably bring that up here in the probably I don't know 1 or 2 episodes ahead of tonight because it's interesting. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Anything?
Just let us know what type of teams you want to see in our feature matches.
Yes.
Like if there's a team you're not familiar with and you want to see how it plays out on a map.
Yep.
Just let us know. Like say Quinjet for someone who's never seen a Quinjet build.
Yeah, if you want to see it lose a bunch.
Yeah.
Just,
or see it win a WKO.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean,
And
I
watch
suppose that
Aubrey
happens
with all
too.
his dead drones.
Right. We did start recording matches. If you haven't looked at some of the new ones, we're starting to use paper maps again. I kind of figured out a way to help with the glare, and it actually looked really good. We're starting to use a dice box,
Yes.
so you can actually see the dice rolls now. That's working out really well.
And strawberry lemonade dice.
Yeah, we're using the same dice.
Oh, I know one I'll bring up, and I'll put it on the forum too, is how do you feel about those square slidey dice?
You mean the best dice in the game?
You mean the dice that don't roll? Yeah, they're amazing.
Right.
You mean my crit hit dice? Of course they are.
I know.
Oh, they were crit hitting my hand. They're crit hit when they hit the table.
Yeah, the only reason I bring it up is because I have seen like tournament rules where they say like no gimmick dice,
Right.
or I think they call them bone dice.
Yeah, bone dice.
Right. I was just curious what people think. Personally, I cannot stand them.
I can't roll them.
I used to roll them all the time because I'd be like, oh, they came with token packs and blah blah blah. But then like the Fear Itself dice, like Cory hates them. I know, as he nods his head.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of them now because the longer I play, the more I realize they don't roll. I've literally watched a guy like. And it wasn't any fault. It wasn't like he was trying to cheat me, but he swung his hand. The dice went out flat, and when it hit the table, it just lowered just enough that the flat side hit the map, and it just slid across on a 6. I'm like, well, I guess technically that's a roll. It's not like any turning or anything like that.
Right.
Like, I mean, it happens, but at the same time, I hate those friggin' dice.
I'm actually a little surprised dice towers aren't more of a thing.
Because it
Just
just
saying.
adds some other crap you gotta
Yeah.
pack up.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
This is already a fiddly type of game where you have
Yeah.
to bring a ton of crap.
It's not
with
like
you.
I brought my one deck box, I'm good to go all day. Ha cha cha cha. It's like, well, let me get a big carrying case for my resource and my colossal retaliators and my Quinjet and whatever other crap I got to bring today.
My 400 maps.
I had to rip up an entire foam case just to fit the freaking Quinjet.
I
Worth
brought a
it.
suitcase.
Clearly worth it.
Yeah,
Corey.
clearly.
Oh, yeah, it was worth it.
I'm sure you could sell some of those chases and buy yourself a new foam tray.
What was
What was you?
it must
Oh,
be so
man.
hard having all those chases.
First
Right.
world problems.
Yeah, definitely.
I have all these exclusives.
I know that we're going to start. I know that we've decided as a team we're going to play test both Still Modern and Limited. Just because, honestly, in the Pacific Northwest, we don't know if we're going to see a rock or that February WKO first. If there's pieces you guys want to see, we're just going to basically go off current builds, adding in Joker's Wild. Limited will be a horse of a different color. Because,
Yeah.
that's a whole new build.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't really do limited much yet, so
Yeah.
it's all in the
I know
works.
that my local store, I'm going to be judging and playing. We're going to be doing a limited tournament. We're calling it the Redemption Tournament. I'm going to try and drag down our game recording equipment and see if we can't record the final match in that, put that up. We're also thinking about League, something of that sort. Me and Aubrey had talked about completely random keywords and a random map. You draw the three and you make your teams.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Stuff like that, guys. Just to prove that some of those off-ball teams can do well. Expect to see a Punisher van up on recording every soon. So I finally opened mine from the Oregon WKO because I absolutely love it.
Expect to see a Robo Shark coming to hang out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
boy.
mean, yeah, there's gonna be some builds out there, guys. So,
waka waka waka.
right, I'm getting lots. I don't know if I've told Matt this, but I don't know if I've told the rest of you. I'm getting lots of subscribers on YouTube, and I'm getting lots of people wanting to join our Facebook page. And I can't tell you guys how cool it is to have these people say, "Yes, I want to see your page. I want to subscribe. I'll watch this." Quite a few people at both WKOs came up and said, "Yeah, I love watching your gameplay videos."
Yeah, I was
Could you
actually
do some
kinda
of this?
shocked down
And
in Portland.
It makes us feel good that people are actually watching this. We wanted to do it no matter what, but the fact that people are getting something out of it, it's really cool because that's how we used to do. We used to go on YouTube and looking for this stuff, and when I first started playing, it wasn't really on there. There's a lot more now.
It was mainly Patrick's videos,
Right.
Which I love Pat's videos.
Right.
Don't get it wrong, but he was about the only game.
Yeah.
So
So
it's either Pat or Married with Clicks. Now,
Oh
these
yeah,
are your
see,
two
and I didn't
options.
even
Yeah.
know about Married with Clicks at first.
at that point, yeah, right.
Yeah,
So,
well, at the time I just received a shit stomping from Pat down in Oregon, so I'm like, well, apparently I'm going to check out this guy's stuff.
right.
I guess I shouldn't say shit stomping, but it was still bad enough that I didn't forget.
Right. We're still talking about doing a tutorial series. Not so much in maybe we're talking about not in the fact that how to play, but maybe go over the pack and explain some of the stuff, lines of fire, some of that stuff.
Another thing I'll bring up before I forget is if you got some new players, which me and Brian were talking about earlier, like hook them up with pieces. I have a doubles box full of crap. Aubrey's got a bunch of doubles because I hooked them up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, most players are going to have a lot of doubles they're never going to play with. Please, 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 for the love of whoever you worship, God, Satan, Cthulhu, Trump, I really don't care. Just hook them up with some pieces, get them to play. Because the one thing I worry about with this game is it dying. Yeah.
That would suck so bad.
Because...
What am I going to do with all my money then?
Well,
Right.
even outside of that, like I'm not a card fight Vanguard, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, not my jazz. Like just not about it.
Their clicks or bust.
It feels alive to me,
Right.
and that's why I get why people play Warhammer 40K. I just don't have the bank fund to do it.
Right.
don't have
Right.
40K.
Or the patience.
Yeah, I don't have 40K.
Or the patience.
Yeah,
I thought about playing until that one time we had that tournament, And we finished an entire 3-round tournament in the time it took them to argue about whether or not a hit actually hit.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I'm good.
Plus, any game you need a tape measure for is way too complex for me.
I
Right.
don't want to read a rule book thicker than the novels that I read.
Right.
For
each piece.
Bigger than the Bible.
Right.
But yet we play HeroClix.
Right.
But yeah, which
But we play something with no rules.
Which actually might actually need a rule book the size of a novel
which
at this
don't
point,
get me wrong,
on
can be
language alone.
can get confounding as shit sometimes. But even if you don't have the pieces, message some other players like me, for example. Like I may not be able to hook you up with 100 pieces, but I can at least give you 20 roundabout Kerr. You know, you can give them to a dude that's just starting to play. Like I've done it for my friends around here. There's been people on HC Realms that have done it. Like take advantage of these situations. Get people into this game. Otherwise, the game you enjoy will die out.
Yep.
Yes.
And don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Right.
don't be a dick.
Right. So I think that pretty much wraps us up, guys. If I could talk. Again, you know, we want to get more events. Please, 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 if there's interest, you know, make it known. Make it known to your stores. Put it on HC Realms. Put it on our Facebook page. Put it wherever you want. Let's get this known because we need more events. We need our stores to realize that we will come to them.
Right.
These last 2 WKOs had really good attendance, and so it's proof that we're out there. Any closing statements for you guys? Anything at all?
No, I'm free.
It was a great tournament. Good seeing people that we recognize.
It was,
Right.
Nice having the Oregon people come up.
It was nice to support some shops.
Right. For sure. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us. Stay tuned for more episodes to come, more gameplay videos. Yeah, go check them out. See you guys later.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Peace out for Harambe.